Are you somebody that wants to get better at pistol shooting, but the idea tank's running on empty as far as what drills to run to get there? Well, brother, this video's for you. We've all been there, caught up in a moment where we can't help but think to ourselves, what could make this more interesting, more entertaining, more intriguing? Perhaps that's a question that American news channels should ask themselves when they're considering who to hire next for their weather forecasters. I mean, just take it from Mexico. Anyway, I thought I'd make this video today for you pistol shooters out there that are bored with the same old courses of fire and maybe wanted to spice things up a bit. Maybe not Mexican weather girl hot, but you get the picture. Now, before we get into the actual drills themselves, I wanted to cover a couple aspects that will not only invigorate your shooting, but just sharpen your skills overall. The first of which is the size of targets that you're shooting. Now, we've all seen all the popular YouTubers just ripping shots as fast as possible across many targets, and that's really cool, except for the fact that those targets are all 4 inches apart and the size of a calf. Now, that's fine and dandy, and I'm sure it's a lot of fun, but realistically, it's not going to help you build on your skill set. Why is that important? Well, quite frankly, because if you have large targets, you're never going to be able to really gauge where you're at in terms of progression with your drills because you have such a high probability of hitting the target. Now, if you're running a smaller target, you're going to have to be more consistent, more precise, and more dialed in with your training. After all, aim small, miss small. The other thing I wanted to cover is the distance at which you're training at. The reason I wanted to bring this up is because I continually see folks online, whether it be YouTubers or instructors or even some pro shooters, that are training at distances of like 3 to 5 yards, and they're showcasing that, which is especially strange to me considering one factor in particular, and that's bullet deviation. If you're not familiar with bullet deviation, well, I've constructed this masterful meme that we're going to go over that'll give us a better idea. Here's a chart outlining bullet path deviation. Here's you, not being aware you're not aiming right. Here's the target you shot at 3 yards that you thought you did pretty well on based on the hit marker, and this is the outcome had you tried to place that same shot at a target at 10 yards where you nearly missed the entire thing. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is bullet path deviation. Now that we're all greased up, let's head out to the range and put in some work. Let's talk about double taps. Not only are they a lot of fun, but they're also a great way to gauge where you're at in terms of your fundamentals. You have to have good trigger work, you have to have a good master grip, and you also have to be target focused enough in order to anticipate that muzzle rise and place a shot at the exact right time. Otherwise, you're going to shoot over or under your target. So while they are a ton of fun, they actually really give you a good baseline for where all of your fundamentals are and whether or not they can come together in a rapid succession. With this drill, we're going to be implementing quick target acquisition with something else that's vitally important to your skill set, and that's rebuilding your master grip after it's been disrupted. And a great way to do that is with reload drills. Now, I'm sure you've seen the kids on the internet standing in their bedroom reloading as quickly as possible. And not to throw shade, while the reload itself is important, it's virtually worthless in terms of a live fire situation because, quite frankly, you have no idea where that bullet would go if you were actually pulling the trigger. So that's exactly what this drill is going to do. It's going to establish whether or not you have that muscle memory. So after the master grip is broken, you're able to accurately get back on target as quickly as possible. For this drill, we're going to be doing something called shooting occluded. You may have heard of it, but if not, it basically just means shooting with your sights covered or without the use of your sights at all. Now, you may ask, why on earth would I train like that? Well, most importantly, for self-defense situations. The truth of the matter is that if something life-threatening occurs, like a situation at a grocery store where you're in a relaxed state and imminent danger is upon you, there's a very high probability you're just going to be reacting on instinct, and it's a flight or fight situation. That being said, you may not even have time to get your sights on the target, or your battery in your optic dies, or if you're like me, you don't run backup irons. Now, I know there's going to be somebody in the comments saying you need to put backup irons on. Also, why I train this drill. So, as you see, I don't have my optic cover out here because I forgot it, so I'm going to even up the ante and do this one-handed, covering the optic entirely. So as you see, I have developed a skill set that allows me to know just by muzzle direction that I am going to hit a target at 10 yards or even further. Now, this is a drill I'm sure you're all familiar with, and that's the Mozambique. 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. Generally done at close proximity on a stationary target. However, as per the theme of this video, we're going to be elevating that. So we'll be firing 2 shots at an A-zone target at 10 yards, with the final shot being on a much smaller target at 25. So this is going to take the required skill set from the Mozambique, your trigger work and quick target acquisition, and substantially elevate it. So let's run it. Now this next one is one of my favorites. I call it the walking stalker. And essentially all you're doing is moving sideways, acquiring targets as you go. And at my range, I have those targets from larger to increasingly smaller, going all the way down to a very tiny target at the end. Now, this is going to be a true test if you have everything dialed in, because not only are all the fundamentals vital to being able to hit the targets as you're moving, but with moving sideways, you also have footwork and that constant bob as you go. So you also have to have that target focus and anticipate when your sight is going to come over the target. So this next drill is kind of a fun one because we're going to use motion and shooting on the go all in the same drill. So what you're going to do is start at 10 yards, fire a shot, slowly walk back, firing 2 more shots, then turn around for a dead sprint to the 25-yard line where you'll fire 1 shot and then move forward and fire 2 more shots. So this really puts together all of your technique with motion and shooting on the go. And it's a great way to test your level of competency with all of those factors. So this next drill is a really simple one. I call it the repeated focus drill. So basically all you're going to do is, whether you're drawing from holster or at a ready position, you're just going to draw, put a shot on target. Do that multiple times, try to stay in the same area. This is going to build on all your fundamentals, your trigger discipline, your master grip, your target focus. And if you're drawing from holster, you get a little bit of holster work as well. Now, speed isn't the key necessarily here. It's just that uniformity with each draw and every shot that you're placing, and ensuring that you have that consistency. So we'll go ahead and run it, show you what it looks like. So as you see, just consistency is the key, and honestly, it's kind of fun. Let's talk about target focus. By keeping your focal point on the target and allowing your sight to come to it, things like this rapid fire 10-yard to 50-yard shot are going to come much more naturally and allow you to move from target to target with ease. Another perfect example of target focus is this drill right here, where I'm shooting the target in the foreground at 10 yards, and then leaning over to shoot the occluded target behind it at 25. Being target focused in this example allows me to change my focal point even when my body is in motion and easily follow up on the next shot. Regardless of anything, whatever your goals may be, just remember, take the path to get there in stride. These have been life lessons and daily affirmations with good old boy Gunslinger. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you'd be so kind to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for future videos, that would be swell. As always, cheers, and God bless. Like and subscribe if you think the only thing that could make this channel better is a Mexican weather forecaster.